Imagine standing in front of the world acting untouchable, while behind the scenes, you're falling apart. A leaked audio just changed everything. King Harris, the same guy calling out 50 Cent online, was allegedly breaking down in private, even apologizing behind closed doors. But this wasn't just an apology, it was a setup. Someone pushed him, guided him, used him as a weapon to trigger a war. Now the real question is what was said. It's who was pulling the strings the entire time. The internet is in complete chaos right now, and it all started with one leak nobody saw coming. According to rising chatter online, King Harris was caught in a moment that completely contradicts everything he's been saying publicly. Not a rant, not another bold statement, but something far more unexpected, an alleged private apology to 50 Cent. And the person claiming to have the receipts, none other than DJ Akademiks. Yes, the same King who's been loud online. The same one going live, standing on business, throwing shots, and making it clear he wasn't backing down from anyone, especially not 50. But if these behind-the-scenes claims are true, the reality looks completely different. Because this wasn't just a quick "my bad." This wasn't damage control for the internet. This was something deeper. According to sources floating around the situation, the apology was emotional, tense, and honestly hard to listen to. People who claim they've heard the audio describe a version of King that the public has never seen before. No confidence, no aggression, just pressure. And here's where it gets even more intense. King reportedly wasn't alone. There was someone else in the room with him, guiding him, coaching him, even whispering what to say as the moment unfolded. Not like a casual conversation, but like someone trying to keep him from completely breaking under the weight of what he'd started. Because by that point, this wasn't just internet drama anymore. It had gone way too far. People close to the situation say you could hear it in his voice. The hesitation, the breathing, the pauses. One line in particular stands out in almost every retelling. "I didn't think it would go this far." That line changes everything. Because it reveals something the public didn't see while all the memes, clips, and arguments were going viral. It suggests that behind the scenes, King wasn't in control anymore. He was reacting to consequences he didn't expect, didn't prepare for, and didn't know how to handle. And to understand why this moment matters so much, you have to look at what led up to it. This feud between King Harris and 50 Cent didn't start as something this serious. At first, it felt like typical internet energy, trolling, responses, back and forth tension that usually fades out. But then something changed. A line got crossed. And not just any line, one involving family. When King made comments that touched on deeply personal territory, especially connected to 50 Cent's past and his mother, the tone shifted instantly. This wasn't rap beef anymore. This wasn't entertainment. This was personal. And people around King started noticing the shift almost immediately. The same person who was loud online started getting quiet in real life. The confidence didn't disappear publicly, but behind closed doors, it wasn't matching the situation anymore. According to insiders, the jokes stopped feeling funny. The reactions stopped feeling like wins. And slowly, the weight of the situation started catching up to him. Because 50 Cent isn't known for letting things slide. Over the years, he's built a reputation not just as an artist, but as someone who responds strategically, and sometimes unpredictably, when disrespected, especially when it involves family. That's when the pressure started coming in. Not from the internet, but from real people. Industry figures, people connected to both sides, even voices outside of entertainment. The message was consistent. This isn't something you play with. And that's when everything shifted for King. Because now it wasn't about pride anymore. It was about damage control. According to multiple accounts, a phone call was arranged, but not directly to 50 Cent. Instead, it went through someone connected to him, a mediator, someone who could listen, evaluate, and decide whether the apology was real or just fear talking. And somewhere in that process, that audio surfaced. That's where DJ Akademiks enters the picture again. While covering the drama publicly, laughing, reacting, breaking it down for his audience, he was also receiving things privately: messages, clips, voice notes, and eventually what he claims is a raw recording of that apology. But here's the twist that has everyone talking. He hasn't played it. Not fully. According to him, parts of that audio are too serious, too revealing, and potentially too damaging to just throw out on a live stream. And that decision alone has only made people more curious. Because hence someone like Akademiks, who's built a career on sharing everything, holds something back, people assume it's big. Really big. Now the internet is split into different camps. Some believe the apology is real, and that King simply got caught in a situation bigger than he could handle. Others think it's exaggerated, possibly taken out of context, or even used to push a narrative. And then there are those who believe the truth sits somewhere in between. But regardless of which side people are on, one thing is clear. This situation exposed the gap between internet confidence and real-world consequences. Because online, everything moves fast. You say something, it trends, people react. But in real life, those moments don't just disappear. They follow you. And sometimes, they force conversations you never planned to have. Right now, there's still no confirmed release of the full audio. No official statements from King Harris or 50 Cent addressing it directly. Just speculation, fragments, and a growing sense that there's more to the story than what's been seen publicly. And that's why this moment is hitting so hard. Because it's not just about an apology. It's about what happens when a viral moment turns real. When pressure replaces performance. And when someone realizes, too late, that they stepped into something they didn't fully understand. And if that audio ever fully surfaces, it might completely change how people see everything that led up to this moment. The situation didn't just get serious, it crossed into something nobody expected. At around that moment, everything shifted for King Harris. Because this wasn't about internet clout anymore. This wasn't about going viral, getting reactions, or proving a point online. This was about survival, career, reputation, safety. All of it on the line at once. And while the public was still arguing in comment sections, trying to figure out who was winning the feud, something very different was happening behind closed doors. DJ Akademiks didn't just drop the audio right away. He didn't rush it. He didn't treat it like another viral moment. Instead, he teased it. He started saying things that made people pause. You don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. This is deeper than Instagram. This kid is in over his head. And for once, it didn't sound like entertainment. It sounded like a warning. Because what Akademiks allegedly heard wasn't just an apology. It was a breakdown. Not loud, not dramatic, but real. People who claim they've heard parts of the recording describe details that completely change the image of King Harris, the confident voice people saw online, gone. In its place, shaky breathing, long pauses, a voice cracking under pressure. At one point, someone in the background is reportedly whispering, "Don't mess this up." That one line alone tells you everything about the room. This wasn't casual. This wasn't optional. This was controlled. And for the first time, the image flipped. The same King Harris who was loud online was breaking privately. But then comes the part that made everything even more intense. The part DJ Akademiks refused to play. On stream, he paused, looked at the camera, and said, "You're not ready for that part. Now think about that." This is someone who built his platform on chaos, controversy, and saying everything out loud. So if he is holding something back, that means it's serious. Really serious. People immediately started asking questions. What's in that clip? What could be so bad that even Akademiks won't play it? Because whatever it is, it's not just embarrassing. It's something that could shift the entire narrative. And according to insiders, it already did, just not publicly. Because the moment the apology recording ended, everything went quiet. Not calm, not relieved, heavy. One insider described it perfectly. It didn't feel like he apologized. It felt like he surrendered. That's when things escalated again. The mediator, the person overseeing the whole situation, stood up, walked out of the room, and made a phone call. Short, cold, direct. One sentence. He did it. Then they hung up. And in that moment, King Harris knew exactly who was on the other end. 50 Cent. Not his team. Not a representative. Him. Directly. And according to the same insider, that's when everything changed physically. King's posture shifted. His breathing got uneven. His hands tightened around the edge of the table. Because suddenly, the situation was real. He wasn't scared of the internet. He wasn't scared of memes. He was scared of what 50 Cent might do next. Because apologies only have power when they stay private. And King had just lost control of that. Then the mediator came back into the room, looked him straight in the eye, and said something that froze everything. "He wants to talk to you." King didn't move. Not shock. Not confusion. Fear. The kind that hits instantly. He asked quietly, "Right now?" The answer came back immediately. Right now. No delay. No excuses. A phone was slid across the table. Screen lit up. Name visible. 50 Cent. Call already connected. Talk, the mediator said. And the moment King picked up that phone, everything broke. No introduction. No explanation. No attempt to defend himself. Just one sentence. "I'm sorry." What 50 Cent said on the other end, nobody knows. That part was never recorded. But King's reaction was. And that's where the story takes its darkest turn. Because the apology wasn't the most shocking part. What came after was. His voice didn't just crack. It broke. "I didn't mean it, I swear. Please don't do anything." That line has the internet debating nonstop. What did he think was going to happen? What was he afraid of? Because that wasn't the tone of someone protecting their image. That was the tone of someone trying to stop consequences they couldn't control. And then came the moment that changed everything. "I wasn't trying to disrespect your mom. I was just talking crazy. I didn't think you'd hear it." That line, that's the truth slipping out. Because it reveals the mindset behind everything. He thought it was safe. He thought it wouldn't reach the source. He thought the internet was a shield. He was wrong. But the biggest twist hadn't even happened yet. Because near the end of the audio, King says something that stopped everyone. "I didn't start it, someone told me to say it." Everything froze. Wait, what? Now the story isn't just about disrespect. It's not even about a feud anymore. It's about manipulation. Because if that's true, then someone else was behind the scenes pulling strings. Someone who wanted this situation to explode. someone who used King as the spark. And according to insiders, he said a name, a real one, not vague, not hinted, clear, and DJ Akademiks refused to repeat it. Not once. He shut it down instantly. If y'all heard that, the whole industry would flip. That tells you everything. Because now this isn't just drama. It's something bigger. Something calculated. Something that may have been set in motion long before the public ever noticed. And inside that room, the moment that name came out, everything changed. People went silent. Someone reportedly whispered, "What did you just do?" Because once a name like that is spoken, you can't take it back. King realized it instantly. "Don't tell him I said that, please. I didn't mean to say that." But it was too late. It was recorded. And now someone else has it. And the scariest part, the public still hasn't heard everything. The moment that confession slipped out, everything changed. What people thought was just another messy internet beef between King Harris and 50 Cent suddenly turned into something far more calculated and far more dangerous. Because now it wasn't just two sides clashing. It was a setup, a plan, a hidden hand pulling strings from the shadows. That single line, "Someone told me to say it," hit like a bomb. And according to insiders, when 50 Cent heard that part of the audio, his entire energy shifted. This wasn't disrespect anymore. This wasn't a young kid talking reckless. This was a message. A shot fired, but not from King. From someone else. Sources say the room around 50 went completely silent when the name dropped. Not confusion. Not laughter. Recognition. One person reportedly whispered, "No way." Another said, "I knew it felt off." And someone else, they didn't even try to hide it. This ain't internet drama anymore. Because in that moment, the narrative flipped. This was King versus 50. This wasn't even the Harris family versus 50. This became something deeper. Someone with influence trying to provoke one of the most calculated figures in hip-hop, using a young, emotional voice as the weapon. And 50's reaction. That might be the most telling part of all. No yelling. No threats. No social media rant. He just hung up. Quietly. Cold. Calculated. And everyone around him understood exactly what that meant. This just got serious. Back in the room with King, things were falling apart just as fast. The mediator ended the call immediately, turned to him, and instead of anger, there was disbelief. "You just said something you were never supposed to say." King froze, tried to explain. "I didn't mean to, he pressured me." But it didn't matter. Because what was done was done. The audio existed, and now it was out of his control. Meanwhile, DJ Akademiks was sitting on something explosive. He didn't play the full clip. He couldn't, but he didn't need to. Because what he said next was enough to send the entire internet into chaos. If that name ever comes out, this whole situation flips. And just like that, the internet turned into a crime scene. Fans became investigators overnight. They started digging through everything. Old live streams, interviews, photos, connections. Who was around King before the outburst? Who had issues with 50 in the past? Who would benefit from starting a feud without getting their own hands dirty? And slowly, patterns started forming. Strange alliances, sudden friendships, people appearing at the right time and disappearing just as fast. It didn't look random anymore. It looked intentional. Then came the next leak. And this is where it gets even darker. According to insiders, the unheard portion of the audio didn't just include a name. It included details. King allegedly explained how this person encouraged him, pushed him, told him to make noise, to go viral, to create headlines, to shake the internet, promised him attention, relevance, clout. And when he actually did it, they laughed. That's when the story stopped being embarrassing and started being disturbing. Because now it wasn't just a young artist making a mistake. It was a young artist being used. A pawn, put in position to trigger someone known for never letting disrespect slide. And here's the twist that shook insiders the most. This person wasn't random. They had a motive, history, a reason to go at 50, but not directly. Because going directly at someone like 50 Cent, that comes with consequences. So instead, they used someone else to light the match. But the plan had one flaw. King wasn't supposed to break. He wasn't supposed to panic. He definitely wasn't supposed to apologize. And he was never supposed to say a name. The entire setup depended on chaos continuing. More disrespect, more reactions, more escalation. But instead, he cracked. And in that moment, he exposed everything. Now the pressure shifted. Because according to another leak, the alleged mastermind didn't stay quiet after that. They started making calls, reaching out to mutual connections, trying to control the narrative, saying things like, "That audio is fake. He's just scared. They're trying to set me up." But here's what makes it worse. Everyone who got those calls said the same thing. They sounded nervous, not confident, not in control. Nervous, because if that name ever becomes public, this doesn't stay entertainment. It doesn't stay rap. It turns into something else entirely. And that's where 50 Cent becomes the most unpredictable piece of the puzzle. Because he doesn't just respond emotionally. He responds strategically. And if he believes someone tried to manipulate a situation to take a shot at him indirectly, that's not a joke. That's not trolling. That's a declaration. And declarations, they don't end with memes. They end with moves. Then, just when things couldn't get any more intense, DJ Akademiks went live again. And this time, he hinted at something even bigger. Something he hadn't mentioned before. Something that made people question whether this entire situation, from the very beginning, was never supposed to stay between King and 50 at all. Because if what he's implying is true, then this wasn't just a mistake. It wasn't just disrespect. It wasn't even just manipulation. It was a calculated play, a chain reaction, designed to pull multiple people into a situation that was always meant to explode. And now the question isn't just who's winning the beef. The question is, who started it and why? Because if that answer comes out, this won't just shake the internet. It could shake the entire industry. Just when it seemed like the chaos had reached its peak, it went even deeper. Because according to multiple insiders, the person at the center of it all, the alleged puppet master, completely disappeared. Silence. No posts. No appearances. Comments turned off. Public presence erased almost overnight. And that alone told people everything. Because in situations like this, silence isn't peace. It's panic. Sources claim they weren't just hiding either. They were moving behind the scenes, reaching out through third parties, trying to clarify misunderstandings, trying to reframe the story, trying to control something that was already spiraling out of control. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Because according to another leak, someone powerful stepped in. Not a blogger, not a fan, someone respected in the industry. They reportedly reached out directly to 50 Cent and said one sentence: "Don't blame the boy, blame the one using him." And 50's response: cold, simple, direct: "I know exactly who the problem is." That line alone shifted the entire energy. Because now, this wasn't confusion anymore. It wasn't speculation. It sounded like certainty. But just when people thought they understood what was happening, another twist dropped. And this one, it changed everything. The puppet master didn't act alone. A second name surfaced. Another voice. Another presence in the shadows. Someone close enough to King Harris to gain his trust. Someone with influence, access, and according to insiders, their own history with 50. And just like the first name, this second name was allegedly captured on tape. A recording that DJ Akademiks has, but hasn't released. The moment he intended that, the internet exploded. Because now this wasn't just manipulation. It was coordination. Two people, working behind the scenes, guiding a young voice, pushing him toward a collision with one of the most calculated figures in entertainment. Suddenly, everything changed. This wasn't a reckless moment. This wasn't clout chasing. This was a setup. And the internet reacted exactly how you'd expect. It turned into a digital crime scene. Thousands of people started digging. Old live streams, old interviews, old tweets, friend circles, collaborators, anyone who had been around King before the moment everything went left. TikTok turned into a full investigation hub. Videos breaking down body language, analyzing tone shifts, comparing how King acted before and after certain people entered his circle. Millions of views, millions of theories. Twitter, even worse. It became a battlefield. One tweet went viral instantly. King didn't start a war. Someone used him to fire the first shot. That single line split the internet in half. On one side, people started defending King. Trending hashtags like "Free King," "Expose the mastermind," "Stop using kids," 50 knew. On the other side, critics weren't letting him off that easy. He said it. Accountability. Own your words. But something started shifting. Slowly. Unavoidably. Because the more leaks that surfaced, the harder it became to ignore the truth. King wasn't the villain. He was the weapon. And someone else pulled the trigger. Then the celebrities started speaking. And that's when things got even louder. One well-known rapper tweeted, then deleted. "I know exactly who gassed that boy up, been jealous of 50 for years." A producer connected to both sides posted, "This ain't disrespect, this is chess." A comedian jumped in. If y'all heard that full tape, the internet would shut down. And then came the one that really shook people. A legendary artist, someone who almost never comments on drama, said, "Don't ever drag a kid into grown man business." That wasn't just commentary. That was a warning. Now fans weren't just asking what happened. They were asking, who are these people? The first name King said. The second name Akademiks hinted at. Which one mattered more? Or were they both part of the same plan? While the internet spiraled, the industry went into panic mode. Managers, Labels, producers, PR teams, everyone started moving. Some quietly unfollowed King. Others unfollowed the suspected puppet master. Some started making calls fast, trying to figure out if their own names might get pulled into the situation. Because one thing was clear: if that second tape drops, someone's career is finished. But the real fear, it wasn't DJ Akademiks. It was 50 Cent. Because insiders say once he realized King didn't act alone, once he heard that second voice, he said something that sent chills through everyone around him. "Oh, so that's who wanted my attention." No anger, no shouting, just clarity. And that's what made it dangerous. Because people close to him said it felt like a shift. Like he finally saw the full picture. Like all the pieces clicked into place. This wasn't random. This wasn't accidental. Someone wanted his attention, and they used King to get it. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, things weren't calm in King's world either. They were falling apart. Sources say arguments broke out inside the family. People pointing fingers, blaming each other, blaming King, blaming the people around him, blaming the ones who pushed him into this. At one point, a relative reportedly told him, "You don't even understand the danger you just brought to this family." And that's when King broke. Not online, not for the cameras. Privately, he reportedly whispered, "I wish I never said anything." But by then, it didn't matter. The recordings existed. The leaks were spreading. And the internet wasn't letting go. Memes flooded every platform. Some funny, some brutal, some uncomfortable to watch. One viral clip showed King laughing confidently on live months ago. Then cut to the apology audio teaser. Caption: "When you talk tough until you realize you were set up." Another showed the group chat leak with one line: "This wasn't clout, this was manipulation." But the moment that hit hardest, a fan account posted an old photo. King standing next to the suspected puppet master and the rumored second conspirator. The caption was simple: "This didn't start yesterday." The comments exploded. "They've been grooming him. This was planned. He was their project. They used his name to start a war." And then a major entertainment journalist stepped in. They posted one tweet: "I've heard the second tape. If it drops, at least one career is over." That was it. No names, no details, just enough to freeze the entire conversation. Because now everyone was asking the same question: whose career? King S, the puppet master S, the second conspirator S, or some eon even bigger, someone nobody expects. Fans begged for the tape to be released. But DJ Akademiks stayed calm. He smiled on stream and said, "Y'all will get it when the time is right." And that's when the pressure really started building. Behind the scenes, industry figures began reaching out to him. Some tried to warn him. Some tried to stop him. Some even tried to make deals, offering information, access, anything, as long as that tape didn't drop. He laughed it off, looked into the camera, and said, "Oh, y'all nervous." And just like that, the tension hit a new level. Because now everyone knows. The truth is out there. The recordings exist. The names are known, just not public. And the only thing standing between silence and explosion is one decision: whether that second tape gets released. Because if it does, this doesn't stay a story. It becomes a reckoning. And the final twist, the one nobody saw coming. It wasn't from the fans. It wasn't from celebrities. It wasn't from the media. It came from King himself. And whatever he says next might be the move that changes everything. The internet didn't just react. It shifted the moment that late-night post appeared. Out of nowhere, King Harris dropped a quiet, almost haunting Instagram story. A lot of things I didn't know came to light. No explanation, no context. 5 minutes later, it was gone. But screenshots already everywhere. And just like that, the entire narrative flipped. Hours earlier, people were clowning him, calling him reckless, saying he went too far. But now, the tone changed completely. Suddenly, the same fans who were dragging him were defending him. He was used. He didn't know. That kid got set up. And the most viral comment of the night said it best. He's not the villain, he's the victim. But if King is the victim, and 50 Cent is the target, and DJ Akademiks is the messenger, then who's really pulling the strings? Because according to new leaks, this story isn't over, it's just getting started. Akademiks is reportedly sitting on part 2 of the audio, and this time it's not just an apology, it's not just panic, it's something deeper, something darker, a second confession that could completely destroy everything we thought we knew. Everything up to now, the breakdown, the apology, the puppet master, the second conspirator, the group chats, the leaks, that alone could shake careers. But what Akademiks hasn't played yet? That's the part insiders say could collapse the entire structure of this situation. Here's what allegedly happened. After King finished apologizing, after his voice cracked, after the call with 50 ended, the room didn't clear out. He stayed, sitting there silent, shaking. And that's when something crucial happened. Someone, either the puppet master or the second conspirator, stepped closer, thinking everything was over. But it was. The recording was still running. And that's when King whispered something that no one expected. I didn't know he was going to use my mom against me. That one sentence hit like a shockwave. Because now this wasn't just influence. This wasn't just clout chasing. This was emotional manipulation. Someone had used his family, his vulnerabilities, his trust, to push him into a situation he clearly wasn't ready for. But it didn't stop there. The response from the other voice. Cold, calm, calculated. It worked though, didn't it? Everybody's talking about you now. No remorse, no concern, just results. And in that moment, everything changed. King didn't argue, didn't fight back. He just sat there and quietly said, "You said he wouldn't hear it. You said it wouldn't get back to him." And then came the line that flipped the entire story on its head. "Oh, he heard it, good, that was the point." Let that sink in. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a kid going too far online. This was intentional. Someone wanted 50 Cent to hear it. Someone wanted him triggered. Someone wanted a reaction. And then, the part Akademiks refuses to play. A second voice, calm, strategic, almost clinical. Once he reacts, we move to phase 2. Phase 2. That phrase alone sent the internet into chaos. What does that even mean? Was this about money? Clout? A rollout? A setup to damage 50's image? Or something even bigger behind the scenes? Nobody knows for sure. But here's what's chilling. According to insiders, 50 Cent does. And his reaction? No rant. No memes. No trolling. Just one sentence. Oh, so they thought they were playing chess. And then silence. If you know 50, that silence is louder than anything he could post. Because silence for him doesn't mean he's backing down. It means he's thinking, planning, calculating. Sources claim he made 2 calls immediately after hearing the full audio, one to legal and one to someone very powerful. After that, nothing. Meanwhile, the people behind the scenes, the puppet master, the second voice, they van. Ished private accounts, deleted posts, no statements, no appearances. Because they know what's coming. And they know Akademiks hasn't dropped the full tape yet. But then came the final twist. Akademiks went live again, smiling like he knew something nobody else did. Fans flooded the chat begging for the second audio, begging for names, begging for the truth. And he said one thing that changed everything. Let's just say, the person behind this is someone you would never expect. Then he added, and the person 50 needs to talk to isn't King. That line flipped the entire narrative. Because now it's not just about the puppet master, not even about the second conspirator. There's someone above them. A mastermind. Someone with influence. Someone with motive. Someone who wanted this war. And almost got it. Akademiks ended the stream with one final warning. The next drop ends everything. Then he logged off. No date, no preview, no explanation. And now, the entire internet is frozen. Waiting. Because when that second tape drops, when the whispers become clear, when the name finally comes out, this stops being drama. This becomes fallout. Careers, reputations, alliances, everything could collapse overnight. So now the question isn't just what happened. It's who planned it. Was it jealousy? A hidden industry grudge? A calculated PR move gone wrong? Or someone close enough to King to guide him and bold enough to use him? Because one thing is clear now. This was never just King versus 50. It was a setup. And if that second tape is real, the real war hasn't even started yet.